And Godzilla vs. Power Rangers issue number 1 is written by Colin Bunn, with art by Freddie Williams II, colors by Andrew Dahlhaus, and letters by Joanna Natalie. And this issue begins with Tommy, the Green Ranger, having followed the Space Witch Rita Repulsa and her minions into a hidden temple where Rita had killed all of the monks in order to procure a magical jewel. Tommy, fearing there isn't much time, leaps in against Zordon's orders, and despite his best efforts, Rita is successful in casting her spell, which pulls all of them, Tommy included, through her vortex portal as she monologues about going to a world without Power Rangers. Tommy is then separated from the aliens as Rita and the others land, now catching themselves in a demolished Angel Grove. It isn't long, however, until they realize the devastation is being caused by two massive kaiju battling it out. These creatures are Megalon and the king of the monsters himself, Godzilla. Rita then takes notice of a flying saucer and teleports themselves aboard, immediately taking out all of the aliens. Standing triumphant, Rita orders them to take her to their leader. Back in the Rangers world, they all discuss the situation, to which Zordon decrees they will go after Tommy. It's then Rita meets the supreme leader of Planet X, who tells her they've been attempting to take over the Earth, but Godzilla has made that endeavor difficult. Rita claims she has a bargain for them when we cut to Tommy, who is waking up now, gazing upon Godzilla. Thinking it's one of Rita's monsters, he summons the Dragonzord as the two titans face off when Rita attempts to take over Godzilla's mind, but finds he is not susceptible to mind control. The battle begins, and the Dragonzord makes powerful attacks, but Godzilla is able to meet the Zord's aggression with equal force. Tommy initiates the Dragonzord's missile system, which knocks Godzilla back, that is, until he recovers, and powers up before delivering his signature atomic breath. This damages the Dragonzord, at which the king of the monsters lifts the Zord up as Tommy is now beside himself, worried, and without backup. That is, until he hears the voice of Jason, as we now see the other Power Rangers having teleported down, while Godzilla stares at them. And let me just start by saying yes, 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 yes! This book is high octane, peak Power Rangers and Godzilla fun. This is a book that feels very 90s and is primarily an adrenaline-fueled spectacle. It gets right into the action and wastes no time giving us explosions and battles. It's a book that knows what it is and it relishes in that. But as far as the story itself goes, it is fairly basic. It's Rita Repulsa, she finds a gem, decides to open up a portal to another world. One ranger goes through, in this case being Tommy. The other rangers eventually have to follow, they meet Godzilla, and hey, now we have a brawl. And because of the quick nature of the story, there are also some lingering questions that I have that I hope will eventually get answered over the course of this 5-issue mini-series. Questions like, what is that temple that Rita was at? What specifically is the jewel that she uses for the teleportation process? How did Rita even find this place? And even though I was going to use why did Tommy go on solo, well, I mean, if you know Power Rangers, it's Tommy. The guy somehow almost always finds a way to get into any situation by himself. He's gonna push all the other Rangers out of the spotlight because this is his gig. And this book also has me asking a few other questions concerning primarily the Dragonzord, like, how did the Dragonzord end up in this world? Did it teleport with Tommy? Is this actually that world's Dragonzord? Does that actually mean that this world could have its own Power Rangers if it belongs in this world? Oh, and while we're on the Dragonzord, can we talk about that fight between Godzilla and the Dragonzord? Because, oh my gosh, this was everything that 8-year-old me wanted to see. As a kid who grew up loving Power Rangers, loving Godzilla, I've often posed these questions to myself, to my friends who love the same things. We've always made these little dream battles in our head. It's like, well, you know, if Mechagodzilla can do so much damage to Godzilla, what could the Dragonzord maybe do to Godzilla? And as far as this first issue goes, the answer to that was the Dragonzord can't really do much against the power of Godzilla, which actually makes a lot of sense in the long run, because if the Dragonzord just completely thrashed Godzilla book 1, then the whole versus rivalry thing would be a little less interesting. If the Power Rangers are gonna win, we gotta only make them win by a small margin. They're gonna work for this victory against the King of the Monsters. And heck, I'm hoping to actually see Power Ranger escalation in this story. So first, Godzilla fights the Dragonzord. Godzilla beats the Dragonzord. We know from the end of this issue that next he's gonna fight the Megazord. Well, he's gotta beat the Megazord, and then the Megazord is going to get taken out, and then we're going to get Dragonzord in battle mode, and then the Dragon Megazord, and then hopefully we get in Titanus for some Ultra Zord action. I mean, I'm sure you're saying, is that all really necessary? And the answer is yes. It is very necessary. But let's not make it all about the Power Rangers. We've also got some Godzilla kaiju action. And I will say, when it comes to the Godzilla end of the spectrum, it is nice that Tokyo gets a break and Godzilla gets to destroy California instead. As far as that first initial battle goes of Godzilla versus Megalon, I think Megalon was a good choice. He's a recognizable Godzilla kaiju, but he's not like one of the penultimate villains, so they're not starting off like too high with like King Ghidorah or Destroya. If anything, they'll save those guys more so for the end of the story. But it would still be oh so cool if we also got the Dragonzord and Mechagodzilla on a single panel together. When it comes to characterizations, the villains definitely get most of it here, particularly Rita Repulsa, which is always nice because, I mean, as much as I love the original Power Rangers, she was more of a comedic villain, but as far as this book's concerned, and even in the Boom Studios books, she's definitely more of a threat, more of a force to be reckoned with. I mean, heck, she starts this book, even though we didn't get to see it, completely killing a temple full of monks just to get this gem. And I really like that. She's ruthless, she's arrogant. She'll step on anybody that she thinks she's above, which is primarily everybody. Except, of course, you know, Lord Zed, Dark Spectre. They'd crush her in an instant. I also think the inclusion of the Zillions from Planet X were a good choice because out of all of the humanoid Godzilla protagonists, they definitely feel the most Power Rangers-like. They're kind of campy, they look a little bit silly, and I think if you were to ever take any Godzilla type characters and put them in Power Rangers, as far as like, you know, foot soldiers and stuff go, they'd fit in pretty well. So in that, I found them fairly complimentary to Rita and her minions. And I just like how she goes up to the Zillion ship and just dominates everybody. I mean, yeah, she has Goldar and Scorpina with her too, you know, but she's still a magical space sorceress. And I'm not gonna lie, I laughed as she looks down at this dude and is like, yeah, take me to your leader. It's like, you're an alien too. So it makes it kind of funny. Then of course, after she has that conversation with the Supreme Leader and she kind of scoffs at them when she finds out that, yeah, they kind of just capture monsters to throw at Godzilla but have no real control over them. And she's like, oh yeah, well, you know, I make my own monsters, and I have full control over them, so there. When it comes to the art, as I've previously stated, this book does feel inherently 90s, especially when it comes to the art style. When I look at the pages, it really looks like something that I would read in, say, you know, Early Image or Malibu Comics. The characters have all these big expressive eyes, the Rangers have these very broad builds, and when they're actually in their Ranger suit, they look ripped. I mean, like, comically ripped. Like, that is some tight spandex.
That is not spandex!
But I actually kind of like the art for this reason, as I think it does highlight the action and the set pieces. Everything involving Godzilla or the Dragonzord looked absolutely amazing. And it was really cool to see those two colossal titans face off with each other, and seeing that Godzilla's got just a little bit more height. It's to show us that, yeah, the Dragonzord might have some additional firepower, but Godzilla could probably still throw that thing across the city. I think the colors were also definitely a highlight of this book, as they're all like very bright and vibrant. Godzilla's atomic breath, for example, looked absolutely gorgeous. My only criticism to this section has to do with some of the sound effects for the lettering, because some of the sound effects have been beveled, which gives it this sort of 3D pop kind of look, and I found it just a bit distracting because it doesn't blend with the page all that well. To a degree, it almost looks like a stock sound effect that was just put on the page as opposed to being made for the page. And it does take some attention from the main artwork. But other than that, if you are a Power Rangers fan, you are a Godzilla fan, you've always wanted to see these two worlds collide, well, now is your chance. I think that most people that read this are going to be absolutely happy with it. Whether you actually want to read the story or it's just something for your collection. And with that, I'm going to score Godzilla vs. Power Rangers issue number 1 an 8.5 out of 10. So Godzilla vs. Power Rangers issue number 1. What did you think about this book if you've read it? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please leave your comments in the comment section below. And if you like this video, I'd love it if you smash that like button, share it with some friends, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and ring that notification bell for more comic book content. And if you're wondering what to watch next, consider one of these 2 videos. Alright, take care, have a great day, and as always, stay geeky.